Welcome to Fright Fest TV. I'm Billy Chainsaw. This here is the legendary, truly awesome Bobcat Goldthwait.
Well,
Who,
uh-oh.
in my opinion, has now raised the bar on found footage movies.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks. Thanks. I always do find it weird in found footage movies who edited the movie, like who found it and said, hey, I'm sorry your daughter got raped to death, but if we recut this and add some music, I think it'd be a hit. She would have wanted it that way. So that was one of the things I tried not to do in my movie. It's really hopefully feels like people turning on a camera, turning it off, turning it on, and that no one edited, even though we did, but
Remind me, because I was so engrossed in the movie, I don't actually remember any kind of score, just natural sounds.
Yeah, there's nothing. There's no score. There's the majority of the natural sounds are natural. Sometimes I moved them around, but the noises that are the scary noises and things are done organically without ruining it for people. And it's weird when you get out way out. In the wilderness like we were, that there's this it sounds really pretentious, but silence makes a noise in a weird way. Like when she yells, you hear this echo that's just real, and you can hear a river and all that stuff, and it really does feel you're out in the woods because you really were out in the woods. Bryce Johnson. We went, it's 17 miles down a dirt road in the middle of a few million acres up in the northwest. So it's really remote. And the first take, there's that take, it's like 19 minutes long. The first take of that, both he and Alexi just started crying. And he's like, I don't know why we got to film this scene here. We could do it in a tent in a hotel backyard or parking lot, And I go, well, that's why we're filming it here. You're kind of flipping out, and I was a little flipped out. Like I'll name drop Terry Gilliam just went to the screening and he goes, "Were you concerned about hitting them in the head when you were throwing rocks?" And I was like, "Yeah, why'd I do that?"
How big were the rocks? Were they?
I was throwing some good sized rocks because the first
you had to make a noise, right?
Yeah, for the first pass, the rocks didn't make noises, so eventually I'm like getting some pretty good sized rocks, but. I figured like the rock hits the tent throws it back. I don't know. And I knew they were in the middle of the tent. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't the safest thing.
It looked like they were quite close to the actual canvas of the tent or whatever it's made out of.
Yeah, I think that they both knew that I'm not to be trusted.
I'm going to rewind slightly here because I didn't actually say the title of the film, which is Willow Creek.
Yes, the movie's Willow Creek, and it is a POV or found footage movie about Sasquatch, a Bigfoot movie.
What made it so different for me was, well, you hit the nail on the head with something you just mentioned here about the joke about we'll do the score to blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Because that's one thing that always cracks me and my wife up when we're watching a found footage movie. And there's a score.
Yeah.
It's like, so right, you had an orchestra following you around the bloody woods when you were looking for the monster or whatever it is.
Like the camera should pan over and there's some guy with a cello. Yeah. Actually, it'd be a guy with a synth. He's just making tones.
And the other thing that was obvious to me was that it was a film made from the heart of something you're quite passionate about.
Yeah.
Well, very passionate about.
Yeah. I really do love Bigfoot, and I've always.
Is it something from your childhood?
Oh, since I was 8, this really was like a gift to the 8-year-old me to go to the actual Patterson-Gimlin site. So I made a
Tell
movie.
the audience who they are.
Patterson-Gimlin site is that footage of Sasquatch where she's walking through the woods and she goes like that. You've probably seen it. I say she because
I was wondering why you
it's
said
a woman. It's Patty's got breasts, and I always love the idea of the Sasquatch guy who's sitting there and he's like, "Hey, those are tits, right?" like this was the perfect storm. It's like it's Bigfoot and it's got boobs. It was like the everything this guy clearly probably loved.
So there's a lot of real people from your travels, because you said you went
Yeah.
around all the sites and stuff.
Yeah.
That you actually used them in the film. How did you get them involved in the film? Did they actually know they were being involved in a film?
Well, I did let them know that we were making a movie, but I let the actors do most of the interviewing and stuff. So I didn't want it to be. If I explained a lot more to the people, I mean, it's not like it's not like Borat. I'm not punking them, But I did. If I told them too much, they would have been, I think, started to act, and they would have been confused what was needed. So yeah, most of them thought that they were just talking to this couple who were making a low budget YouTube kind of doc, Because as soon as you said, "I need you to act and say this," they would have clammed up, and it would have been like, paging Mr. Herman, Mr. Pee Wee Herman, It would have been very stiff and unbelievable.
For those of you who don't know, Pee Wee Herman had this awesome show called Pee Wee's Playhouse.
Well,
and I'll let Bobcat tell you why he doesn't have the Playhouse. Actually, he does have the Playhouse again. Now, enough years have passed, they're going to reinstate the series. But Bobcat, tell them why.
Well, Paul Reubens, I'm sure folks know Pee Wee's Big Adventure, the movie, but he was arrested for fondling himself in a porno theater, and then he was. It's just kind of weird. I mean, that's where you do it, right? I mean,
yeah, I thought that's what they were for.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like he was doing it in a mall.
Yeah, it wasn't a public exhibition, so to speak.
Exactly. It wasn't at a swimming pool.
No, and it was him on his own.
Yeah.
It was masturbation, guys.
Yeah. But what I thought was sad recently, another actor was arrested doing the same thing. And in the news media in the States, they go, he was doing a Pee Wee Herman. I'm like, is the guy remembered for doing the first Tim Burton movie or for all the Emmys he won? Nope. That's what you're going to be known for, rubbing one out. Dude, he was arrested doing a Bobcat Goldthwait. By the way, that was one thing that I really was frightened of. Not frightened of, I thought was funny because when I'm out in the middle of the woods and it's 3 a.m. and we're filming and I'm thinking, because we saw mountain lions, so the likelihood of me being mauled to death by an actual bobcat wasn't that far-fetched. And I just thought, the irony of the headline, Bobcat mauled by bobcat, wasn't lost on me. And then rescued by a guy driving a bobcat.
So how close did that mountain lion come to the actual shoot area?
The mountain lion, one came really close to one of the crew. He was like, "What's the difference between a bobcat and a mountain lion?" I don't know why he wanted it. I go, "Well, bobcat's stocky and wasn't police academy. No, a bobcat's stocky and has a short tail, and a mountain lion's tall and has a long tail." He goes, "Yeah, I just saw a mountain lion." And I go, "How close was he?" He's like, "About 10 feet. And I go, "Where was he?" He goes, "By the river." I go, "Okay, well, we're going to film not by the river now." So he saw one. And the thing about mountain lion, and then we all saw one just go across the path, and it was far away, but it was really crazy because it was walking really deliberate. It was clearly going to kill something. And they're very big, and they're cats. So if you take off when they see you, they're playing. You're just a 200-pound mouse. You're just a string.
I was going to say a ball of yarn.
Yeah. We probably should have been a little more worried. The next time I go, we'll have a gun.
Did the cats get worried at all?
Yeah. Yes, the cats would walk around with bear whistles. They I guess they're just frightened animals. A really high pitch whistle, and a lot of them would just walk around the crew and cast and go, "I am a human being."
Is that supposed to scare off a wild bear?
I don't know, but that's what they're.
I think it would attract attention.
They're supposed to say, "I am a human being," and stuff. The only time I got a little nervous was we were in this one bush. If you see the movie, we're really in the woods. I mean, the movie's deep in the woods, and there was something in this bush that was breathing. And it didn't move because normally everything would just take off when humans were around, and it was just like breathing. And I was like, "Yeah, I'm not down with this. Maybe we should move again." So we're kind of nomadic because we get a little flipped out by it.
So did you literally camp out for the duration of the shoot?
Not for the duration, but we did stay there at Bluff Creek. We slept over there and stuff. that's where one of the one of the Bigfoot experts, at about middle of the night, he's like, I'm a writer too, and I go, oh really, what do you write? He's like, well, Twilight, and I'm like, sure, everyone knows Twilight. I write tween novels set in the Bigfoot community, coming of age stories. And I go, oh, what's the name of your book? And he goes, well, the first one's Yeti or Not, and it's it's a it's a sensitive story about.
And is it actually being published?
I think it's self-published, but you can get it on eBay. I bought
Have you read
one.
it?
Haven't read it, but I do own one.
So was the nighttime? Were they nighttime shoots as well?
Yeah, I mean that's where we.
Yeah, so it's all done when what you see on the screen is directly within the environment and the time scale.
Yeah, exactly, and I think it helped the actors a lot, and it is. It's nice that you said such kind things about the movie. What I was interested in was I was wondering if I could make a movie that was suspenseful for people. I've written a few other movies that I would definitely consider genre pictures, but this one I was more concerned about the suspense. I mean, zombies are really played out, but I wrote a picture which is there was a minister in Wisconsin who got arrested because he had he stole aborted fetuses, and he gave them Christian burials with little crosses and stuff. And he got arrested, and I thought, well, this writes itself, zombie fetuses, so I wrote a movie. It's called Ankle Biters, and it actually has more to do with like It's Alive, or Critters, or Gremlins, but
Classics.
I like those movies, and if I get to make it, I want to do as much of it in camera. I think there's something about the puppetry and if you go back to like It's Alive too, and those movies, there's always these like POV shots from those little creatures and stuff. So
just don't take it as far as Island of the Ankle Biters,
Island,
because that was the third film, and that wasn't so good.
Well, that's what I said to the guys who actually I was trying that I'll probably make it with. They go, why are we making Ankle Biters? I go, because Ankle Biters 2 and 3.
Just don't take it. You'd probably do something good with it.
I don't know. It might be Escape from Beneath the Planet of the Ankle Biters.
That I'd pay good money to see. So back to the actual making of the film, the writing of the film, really. The two protagonists, why did you choose who they are? Because again, that is what elevated the film for me, because usually when I start watching a POV / found footage movie, they're such dickheads. You hope that they will all get mutilated by the creature or whatever it is that they're searching for.
Yeah. It's like
yours wasn't like that. You actually felt for the people, and it brought a reality to it.
Well, I think. Thanks. I mean, I have the same problem. It's like good-looking young people, and they smoke grass and they have sex, and then they get killed by a monster. It's like, well, I would kill those people. You don't need a monster. Well, I won't kill them, but maybe
pay someone to kill them.
No, I think
can't say that.
Punch him in the genitals. How's that? If you see one genital punching film this year. No, I think that I thought that was the other thing. It's like, let's really hopefully people would get really invested in these people, and then horrible things would happen to them, and then you would be more upset, and I have my own theories about some of the stuff in the movie, but I don't want to give it away to people. But I kind of I see it more as the woman's story in some ways, because she's the one that actually goes through more changes in her, and her outlook and worldview. My wife says the movie's just really good-looking people playing us.
So what about Bigfoot conventions? You must have invested some time in that.
Yeah, it's the best. The folks in the Bigfoot world, there's a lot of infighting. It's all infighting. So I went to a convention, and there's a guy. You know, most Bigfoot people don't believe Sasquatch has a pointy head. That's some Steven Spielberg bullshit. You know, hey man, that's So this guy had a cardboard cutout of a pointy-headed Bigfoot, and the other guy comes over and he goes, "You disgust me." And he goes, "What?" He goes, "Look at his head." And he goes, "Really? I've seen Bigfoot 3 times, and you're never gonna see him because you smoke." And because I guess Bigfoot doesn't like smoke, but I think he likes grass, because a lot of these Sasquatch guys really love to get baked until they see,
The ones that have seen him.
Yeah, her. Well, but the one I like is the fact that I was at one convention, and the guy's up there, and before the keynote speaker, this one guy is talking about Sasquatch, but he also mentions UFOs, and about a third of the room went, "Ugh," like, "Oh boy, who invited this crackpot?" A little tiny man from outer space. Yeah, we're here to talk about Bigfoot, crazy. Bring it back.
Have you shown it to any of that community?
Oh, I've showed it. I've had believer screenings, and they really seem I'm really happy, because I didn't want to ridicule them. I think they're the most put upon group. No one. Everybody makes fun of them. Or they're really misunderstood subculture. It really goes like, like sci-fi, Trekkie kind of thing, and then it'd go to Ren Fair people, or Renaissance Fair people, and then Al Qaeda, and then Bigfoot, as far as like people taking the time to understand what they're about. So a Bigfoot enthusiast being at the bottom. But I've had a couple what I call believer screenings, and they really like the movie. It's really sweet. The guy will stand up. After the Patterson Gimlin footage, Mr. Goldthwait, this is the best Bigfoot movie ever made. Like, they'll start almost crying. Big guys in camo, getting all choked up.
Well, you're not going to see a better Bigfoot movie than this. Found footage or otherwise, trust me.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Can I ask you one thing now?
Sure.
Final question. Can you look, which cameras are you going to look at? That one. And tell them about your Fright Fest experience. It's your first time, is it?
Yeah, this is my first time at Fright Fest, which I think is really funny, because people go out of the way to talk about how weird the crowds are, and I think it's really funny because I just find everybody adorable. They don't seem weird to me. I think the people in line for grown-ups too over there, those are the real weirdos.
Bobcat. Legend. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.